didn't think our map, our camera, our everything would be in a small device in our pocket.
Yeah.
And now we have air taxis that are flying unmanned, things that we did not think were possible and could barely even be dreamed up in books. Those are possible now. So when people are hesitant to think AI could become sentient, I know it sounds a little whack, but I'd like to keep my mind open to that.
Bam! Welcome to the BAMBIZTALK Podcast, where we cut through the fluff and dive straight into the real-world wins and lessons of entrepreneurship. This isn't just another podcast. It's your toolkit for building and learning what it really takes to grow and thrive in business as well as in life. I'm your humbly eccentric host, Angel Garcia, co-founder and CEO of BAM Entrepreneurial Center, and I'm here to pull back the curtain on the strategies, hacks, and habits of successful business owners who've been in the trenches. Each week, we'll bring you unfiltered stories from entrepreneurs who have been there, done that, and lived to tell the tale. We'll uncover the moments that shape their businesses, the wins, the stumbles, and the lessons they learned the hard way so you don't have to. It's about real talk, actionable insights, and practical strategies to help you go from where you are to where you want to be. So, if you're hungry for inspiration, thirsty for knowledge, and ready to make moves, you've found your tribe. So let's dive in, get real, and build something extraordinary. You're now tuned in to the BAMBIZTALK Podcast, the playbook for the bold.
Bam! Here we go. Today, I am pleased to introduce Miss Gina Lewis with Tall City Cyber.
You got it.
Nice. How are you doing today, Gina?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We met a while back at a Founders Blend.
Love Founders Blend.
Yes.
Game changer.
Has it been?
Yeah, absolutely. The energy from that network is incredible.
So it's had ripple effects since.
For sure. Networking with people who are where you want to be, where they've been, where you are.
Yes.
So it's
okay.
incredible.
See, and
highly recommend.
That's the purpose of Founders Blend.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we put it together, right? Because Midland is such like a dynamic, robust, little, small community.
So true. People have no idea.
They know. It's like a hidden secret.
I know. Right? I kind of don't want to tell. It's ours.
Because when people know about West Texas, Midland, oil and gas, Mojo, right?
Yes,
football,
Friday
Night Lights, and that's their understanding.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else? There's nothing else they have a concept of.
Right.
But here it is like a little kept secret because we're growing. It's
massively
incredible, right?
The future's bright.
What did I hear? I heard a stat lady. I'm not even going to say the number, but every quarter.
Stat lady. Let's do stats.
Uh-oh.
Every quarter what?
I'll be general about it,
okay.
And maybe you can be precise. Every quarter, it's like tripling in economic growth, right? I don't know what exactly metric you're using there, but
so Midland, and why Midland makes sense to do business here. For 2 out of, I believe, the past 3 years, we've ranked number 1 in per capita personal income. I mean, the math is mathing here.
Math is definitely mathing. And then for years, Midland has been like in the top 10, mostly top 5 of entrepreneurship.
Incredible.
For such a small spot.
Are you familiar with, I'm sure you are, Conrad Hilton?
Yeah.
Of Hilton fame.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So his backstory is fascinating, and I'm not sure if you've heard about it or not.
I listened to a podcast that talked about his.
I'm gonna have to check out that podcast.
Founders.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a quote that I love, and I say it all the time, but it kind of encompasses the Wild West of entrepreneurship here. And there's a vastness here. And I believe that people who are born here breathe that vastness into their soul. They dream big dreams and they think big thoughts because there's nothing to hem them in. And it's so true.
Wow.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. It's huge.
Let's do big.
Let's go big.
And he bought a hotel for $40,000 in a handshake off a guy who wanted to go get rich in the oil field. I want to know what happened to
What
that
happened
guy.
to that guy?
But that night that he bought that hotel, he slept in the office of the hotel like a kid would do with their new
toy, right?
And dreamt of having Hilton hotels across the state of Texas. And look at that dream that bloomed in Texas. Yeah. So we can do big things here.
Huge, right? Because there's a lot of vastness.
A lot of vastness. Nothing to rein us in.
No. So, Miss Gina Lewis, Tall City Cyber.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Like, what do you do? How did you get to start into the cyber? Why a cyber?
Sure. I think for one, owning my own business, I think it's part nature. It's in my blood. Okay. My father opened a car dealership here on Wall Street in 1969. And that car dealership is still going. My brother now runs it, and it's the oldest independent car dealership here.
Super cool.
And my mom owned her own business on Wall Street for many years.
Wow.
So I think it's definitely in my blood, but cybersecurity is part nurture. I went straight into the Air Force out of high school. And I originally wanted to go medical, which is funny because now don't show me blood or anything like that. But in basic training, two very intimidating men in business suits from the Office of Special Investigations approached me and asked me if I ever would consider a career in signals intelligence. Okay. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, but that was intimidating. I mean, just picture the scene. So I'm like, sir, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. And fast forward months later.
Like 19, 20?
18. And fast forward months later, and I'm hacking satellite signals to defend our nation. I had to pinch myself. Like, is this real life?
Wow.
Who does this?
So at that point, they had to see an aptitude just to approach you for that.
They said that my ASVAB test kind of indicated that I would be a good fit. And the ASVAB, it's a mouthful in itself, but it's like the Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude. I don't know.
You got pretty close there, I think.
Okay, good. Standardized battery. I don't know. But it's a test that I just took to get out of class in high school.
Right.
So I think being free on it and not really... training for anything led me to show my purest strength.
Yeah.
And they, the fact that door opened for me and I had no idea that this kind of skill was intuitive for me. I was hacking satellite signals at a terminal and I didn't even know how to power on that computer. I didn't know where the power button was.
Right.
I mean, truly, it had to be taught to me.
Yeah.
And then a system administrator kind of noticed that I would try to figure out how to clean up databases and do other things. And so he kind of took me under his wing and was like, I really think you should consider getting your bachelor's in computer science. So I did. Shout out to Troy University.
Awesome.
And then I had a friend who worked within a squadron in the Air Force, and he recommended me to General Dynamics. And General Dynamics brought me on to work on the Predator unmanned aerial vehicle mission, which was unprecedented at the time. Now we can largely fight wars from home.
Right.
And just working with unmanned aerial vehicles and learning a little bit about those inspired me to get my master's in aeronautical science.
Wow.
So now, shout out to Embry Riddle. And so now I love to kind of combine the two, but also, like I love to say, the math had to math. I mean, for small business in fiscal year 23, the federal government set aside $178 billion in small business set aside. So that money funneled to small businesses just like mine. And for our core capabilities like governance, risk, and compliance, it's a $44 billion yearly industry.
Wow.
Application security is a $10 billion industry. Vulnerability management is a $15 billion industry. And managed detection and response is a $4 billion industry. Bringing up the rear, but it's not pocket change.
No.
I mean, these numbers made sense to me.
So, I mean, with all three of your I don't want to call them coincidences, but you're stacking, your family entrepreneurship's in the blood, right? You took a test that you were just, in high school, whatever. You got approached, by some serious gentlemen.
Yes, I will never forget.
And you were directed, you met mentors along the way.
Yeah.
That guided you in the direction that made sense because of who you are. And it's kind of a natural progression. Yeah. And it led you to opening up your own security, cyber company.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little about your company now, and what type of clients, who's your demographic, and who do you work with?
So target clients are Air Force, Navy, Space Force, but also recently we've been looking into the NASA Mentor Protege program. NASA has this incredible program where they will reimburse prime contractors for bringing on small businesses to their contracts. And this whole community, we talked about having mentors, and truly mentors are the, movement makers of the world.
Yes.
They really change the world. And we've had these companies just kind of embrace us and tell us about the program, and it relaunches on November 1st. So we're really excited about where that's going. But also other clients like banks need pen testing. That's kind of a big deal. Healthcare industry. I'm a huge fan of the space industry, and here in Midland.
Yeah. Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
The BAMBIZTALK Podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever-so-legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on at Pachuco's, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachuco's, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
Yeah.
Oil and gas. You gotta say that here in Midland, because that's a huge industry, and typically we've been behind the curve on cybersecurity, really in all industries. I feel like we're always chasing our threats. But with the 2021 Colonial Pipeline incident that
shook everybody.
They couldn't bill their clients. They had to shut down 5,500 miles of pipeline to keep the issue from spreading. That was kind of a shake up call for the industry. And I think shortly after that, TSA released their pipeline security directives, followed shortly by the cyber incident reporting for critical infrastructure in 2022. So regulations are catching up. Oil and gas industries trying to do the best they can with what they have. Speaking of vastness, you have miles of pipeline that you have to monitor, and tanks and valves and all kinds of things. And a gate just won't cut it. And not only that, but a gate for that long is not doable. So we have to get really creative about how to stop these
That's
threat
interesting,
actors.
right? Our technology was so like earth ground, with iron locks,
Yes.
gates. And,
Yeah. You just cut those right.
Yeah.
right off.
Right. And
yeah.
then they had the, really cool technology where there's like 20 locks, unlocking any one of them in the right position will open the whole gate. I was like, wow, that's cool. But then level that up. And now you have to lock in the digital world.
Sensors that connect to satellites out in the field. I mean, just wild.
And there's so many points of those sensors.
So many points. I can't remember. I love metrics, but I can't remember the stat on that. But it's like the average large oil company has 100 million individual endpoints that they have to monitor. I mean, it's mind-blowing, the number.
I can just think on one location alone, right? Just all the different points where you would have to metric, meet or something.
Absolutely. And you can't protect what you can't see. So visibility is important.
That's you were talking about how the area has always seemed to lag in every industry, right? Yeah. So I have a little bit of insight on that.
Tell me.
Yeah. So I was speaking with Brooks Landgraf.
Okay.
And he was saying that because back in the 70s, Austin thought that oil and gas was done with. There's like we had reached peak oil. We had reached peak oil.
Okay.
Right, because that's what the science was saying. That's what experts were saying. It's like, we reached peak oil in the 70s, and then there's the 80s. We had the huge bust.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
This is just a ghost town.
I bet they thought they were right at that point.
Right. Right. Yeah. It was done. It was over with. And Brooks was speaking about in terms of our infrastructure, of why it's so dilapidated and why we're having to invest so much in such a hurry and why there's construction everywhere. Because we're catching up from decades of neglect.
True.
From the state, because they thought, well, this area is going to be a ghost town in 10 years. So why invest anymore in it?
And the big dreamers came along.
And we're still here.
That's it.
And that's actually how he ended. He was like, we're still here.
People were building that infrastructure at a time when people told them they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. Go back to where you came from. Go home. This place is it's over with.
Meanwhile, people buying property in West Texas
on cheap. Yes. Nice. And still innovating. Well, how can we figure this out?
Yeah.
And then now,
how can we evolve?
What's next? Mm-hmm. Like the foundation of any good entrepreneur, right? What's next?
Yeah.
Right.
And say we do run out of oil and gas, the industry will evolve. It'll still thrive.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure. And because the big guys they're doing that. They're starting to reinvest, reallocate their money.
Absolutely.
To make sure they're there when and if that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Lots of cool stuff.
So I think that, we haven't had a bust, right? That wasn't tied to a global,
Sure.
thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Not of our own making.
Right.
So I think that we're in a growth spurt right now, in a phase here that this is where this is the next.
Truly. Yeah. Truly. It's exciting to see.
And go ahead.
Our space industry here.
Yes. See, that's right. So talk to us about our space industry here. You have a little insight.
Oh, so many things are going on here. Yeah. I don't know if you follow AST.
No.
I bought their stock at $2. I'm just saying. So I don't know the exact numbers on this, but I think they came here around like a $5 million company. They had reached a $10 billion valuation. Now it's sitting somewhere about $8 billion valuation. They are growing and thriving.
Wow.
And Midland is their headquarters. Their stock is doing all right. So they were a great bet, and they landed a government contract and just recently delivered 5 satellites, but really exciting things. And it's not just AST. I think AST gets a lot of the highlight, but there are a lot of other incredible players who are coming to Midland. And this is just the beginning. I mean, so many things are in the works that are very exciting.
Yeah.
And to that extent, one of the exciting things that Tall City Cyber really wants to see happen, we would love to build out a cybersecurity test bed. And, because budgets are often tight and the priority is focused on going to market or product launch or just rapid deployment.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to see a test bed where these players can come in and get the latest threat intelligence specific to their industry and test the latest tools and have experts that walk them through compliance requirements. We don't want our name in the news for bad reasons.
Right.
And I would love, we're still kind of looking at locations, but I would love to see that happen here in the Permian Basin. And we have a lot of champions. Cybersecurity isn't typically what Midland is known for, but it's very much needed here. And we have a great, gosh, there's so much I could talk about. Can we just talk all day?
Let's talk all day.
Okay. So, University of Texas, Permian Basin, has an incredible computer science department, information security program. And I've had 2 interns from UTPB.
Yeah.
The talent that we have in this area is phenomenal.
100%.
And I'm so excited about building out the workforce here and, you know, truly seeing this become a cybersecurity hub that's recognized for its contributions in cybersecurity.
See, and I think that I love that you went there with that, right? So, because that's traditionally the problem in West Texas is the workforce.
Yeah, true.
Right?
You hear that a lot.
That's a lot of businesses. They're like, no, that's not going to work because they're not going to be where they're going to get the labor from.
Yeah,
right?
And I mean, oil and gas.
Right.
Ties into that. So
100%, right? But you know, I think we're in, like, we're talking about the transition, the growth. I think the more and more we go, our talent will want to stay here more.
I sure hope so. This is a beautiful place.
It really is, you know, and you just mentioned, you know, talent coming from our, you know, UTPB, our local university, you know, because really traditionally, if someone went to university here locally right out of high school, it's like, oh, well, they didn't have any other choice to go anywhere else.
I did.
Right?
I left. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Most of us do, right? Because we were in that phase. We're like, man, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this town, right? I got to go. And you know, a lot of that is young, you know, angst, right? Trying to just express ourselves and find ourselves, you know, get outside of our environment. But you came back, right?
I love seeing people go get these world experiences and come back and bring the best to make the best.
Because we do need a world experience, you know, on our own.
Sure.
Out there without our parents watching over.
Did you go?
Oh, yeah.
Where did you?
Yeah. Well, I went a couple places. So I started off in El Paso.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an interesting experiment. And then I came back. I actually came right back to here, Odessa. And I went to, because when I went to El Paso, I went to UTEP. I totally destroyed my grades.
Oh, no.
Right. Yeah. I think I got out with like 4 credits. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But so I came back to Odessa.
But do you remember it? Was it a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
It was an experience.
It was a great experience, right? I learned a lot.
Walk away with nothing.
Exactly, right? Then I came back to Odessa and I went to Odessa College and I got my grades up.
What did you do? What did you study?
Well, when I was in Odessa College, I was general studies. I mean, I concentrated in physics and chemistry and geology and just kind of everything because I'm a squirrel.
Okay.
When it comes to knowledge,
that's fabulous.
I'm a bookworm. Yeah. I just love consuming information. So when I became friends with the physics professor. And he would take me to lunch and we'd just have discussions and, you know, about all kinds of physics and
mentorship.
He was a mentor. Yeah. I didn't even realize at the time. I was just like, okay, this guy is interesting and he likes it. He talks back to me.
Taking the time with you. That matters so much.
And then but I still, you know, was, okay, what am I going to do? I'm just, you know, I'm not after a certain degree. I'm just knowledge. And I had a friend. He said, hey, I'm going to Austin. You want to come with me? I was like, yeah, let's go. So just for the weekend. So I like to say that I went to Austin one weekend for 12 years.
For 12 years.
Because when I went to Austin, I had been to Austin before, but I was a kid and, you know, just kind of going by. I was like, oh, big city, you know.
Yeah.
But when I went and experienced Austin, I was like, you know, they have a pretty good university here.
They have a few great things. Yeah.
For sure. But I was like, well, because I was okay, when you graduate, you just go to college, right? Just go to college. So like, for what? I don't know. You just go to college, you get a degree. To get a degree in what?
It's just the storyline. Right? You just go to college. That's what you do.
My first choice was psychology, right? Because
okay.
I've been reading Jung and Freud and all them since I was younger.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't diagnose me.
I'm sorry. I'm playing. But so when I found out, oh wait, I have to get a doctorate to really do anything in psychology, just getting a regular bachelor's. True. What can I do?
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay in school for 10 years. Joke's on me, because I was in school for probably more than 2 years before I actually got my degrees, right? But so I just, I grew up in the oil field, right? My dad worked for Conoco for almost 40 years. So, and he was a senior production foreman. So as a kid, going around, all the leases with my dad, I got to perforate a well when I was 12, so I know oil and gas culture.
Yeah.
Right. I grew up in it. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just be an engineer. Right. I mean,
sure.
I was interested in everything. You were
interested and you knew it.
And I knew it. So that's what I applied to UT. When I got back, I applied to UT for petroleum engineering geohydrology track.
It sounds very nerdy.
It was,
That's
right?
So cool.
We were like the first class to go through that particular program. And Austin changed me. And it kind of opened me up. I thought I was open at the time, but then when I went, I was like, whoa, there's so much more.
Yeah.
Right? Because now it's just not, hanging out with the fellas, and, now there's, oh my gosh, that's a whole other podcast, right?
Okay.
Talking about Austin. Right?
Okay. But I want to sit in the room for that podcast. I want to hear that.
But so I dropped out. I'm a college dropout, and I got my associates in semiconductor manufacturing, and I went to go work for AMD.
What?
Yeah.
That industry.
That was wild. See, and that was what I was looking at in Austin.
Booming right now. The supply chain issues, the innovation.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh, can we talk about that? Like NVIDIA and like what?
Broadcom.
Broadcom.
I worked there for a while, and gosh, I learned the CEO Hocktan. I learned so much from him about business and just sometimes the tough decisions you have to make in business, but they're doing well because of it. And I think it's a testament to some of those tough decisions you have to make.
Yes. Like I think as entrepreneurs, as we begin to get faced with those tough decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can recognize, oh, well, I see why they made that decision now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that industry, I'm going to continue to invest in that industry. Mm-hmm. I mean, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor or anything, right. But, I think there's huge room for growth there. I think the stat on that, I love my metrics.
I like it. I love it.
I think on average, a person uses 8 semiconductor chips I don't know. But anyway, we use a lot of chips.
Yes.
Per person. So then, and the need is just going to grow.
Absolutely. And I think the move to have chips manufactured more here in the States.
True.
That is like strategically.
National security.
Yes. Yeah. Essential.
Yeah.
Like we have to bring that back in.
We do.
100%. Especially with, AI, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the big gorilla in the room, right? It's here. Yeah. And I think we were talking about, the what do you call it? That adoption,
sure.
Of technology.
I'm so glad AI is here. I can't even write a sentence on it anymore. As a matter of fact, this whole podcast brought to you by
on the new Google LLM. Exactly. It's wild though.
It is wild. And with AI, not only do we have an advantage being able to detect, predict, but our threat actors have an advantage at being able to crawl and scan and predict where our weaknesses are.
Yes. So. Right. Which is so how criminals and law enforcement, right? the struggle, right, throughout time.
I mean, I can't talk about how familiar I am with that one.
Because if criminals there, then the law enforcement were able to go get them. Okay, criminal got a baton or a bat or something. Okay, well, police enforcement had to get a bat. Guns.
Yeah,
guns,
you knew who
guns.
your target was, or not target. You knew who your enemy was, your threat actor,
and what the tools they were using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get through, right? And then so law enforcement had to upgrade their tool bag, their tool belt, right? And it's just progression, right? So the AI thing is very similar, right? So now that's why security in the cyber world, the cyber threat is very real. So how do we combat that? Because they're using it, and they're going to use it without ethical regard for any, it's scorched earth, right? It doesn't matter as long as they get what they're after. So then, but of course, it's the whole. That's why it makes like things like comics so awesome, right? Because the ethical battle. Yeah. Right. You got Batman, who's very, very strictly ethical, and then you're Superman, but then you have like Thanos. He's willing to just destroy half of existence
for the greater good.
For the greater good. Yeah. So there is that line that's always there. Yeah. But in the AI world now, who is your enemy?
Who is your enemy? Yeah. And there's some debate on how important it is to know that. Is it more important to know the attack vector, or is it more important knowing who's doing it? I think for national security, we want to know who's doing it, right? Who we want to make sure we have some kind of stance we can take to not only go on the defense, but the offense as well. Right. And for like an individual organization, definitely knowing those tactics, techniques, procedures, attack vectors, so you can defend against that. Maybe not as important as where it's coming from, although, I think knowing where it's coming from helps you monitor a little bit better. Although traffic can be rerouted and things can be spoofed now. So really just honing in on those signatures and digital fingerprints of what the attacks are.
Digital fingerprints, right? Because before that was a lot more clear.
True.
And definitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just, Gary Vee was talking about this. He said there's going to come a time real soon to where if you create a video, like say content, right, that you're going to have to put it on the blockchain first.
To authenticate it.
Yes. So they could check back. Oh, that is yours.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see value in that. And deep fakes are so believable. Yeah. I love watching the demonstrations and trying to figure out, would I be tricked by that?
Right.
And it also makes me think too, how do I need to protect against that in my organization? How do I train my people to be aware, hey, if I call you and ask you to transfer $1 million, how do you know that's truly from me? Or and even phishing attacks. I know for a while we were thinking phishing wouldn't be such a large threat, but that was actually one of the number one threats, specifically oil and gas, healthcare. Phishing still continues to be a top threat. And the threat actors are getting sneakier and sneakier at spoofing where this traffic is coming from, the domain name, they're building out the personnel list so they know they can be authentic. Hey, so-and-so talked to me. You need to go talk to this other person within the organization. And typically people wouldn't have that level of insight. So
right.
It's believable.
It is, right? And their design, you used to be able to tell really quick.
Sure.
Right? There was a tell. Yeah. Now, it is getting a little trickier, but you have to be more, you have to look closer. Because
Tall City Cyber.
Right? Like 2 R's.
2 R's.
Well, that's
creative. Quick.
And so it's still the weakest element is the human factor.
True. And we're always going to have that problem.
Always.
So we do.
Wait. we didn't say that AI. I mean, no.
Remember all the times I said please and thank
Please and thank you. So, hey, does that not make a difference if you're nice to your AI agent?
I love, speaking of psychology, you would know all about this, right? It's fascinating. Even when I tell, my AI assistant or my smart device to turn off lights, I'm like, please, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure. And I feel like it gives better answers.
Yes.
So when I'm prompting and I'm a little more polite, I think it can tell when I get a little bit short.
Yes, it can.
And I'm like, that gave me
attitude.
A short answer. So.
Yes. And then when you go back at it and say, was that everything? I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry about that.
Let me complete it for you.
Yes. Are we over our little spat? Should I go back to long, detailed answers now? Remember to be nice to your AI.
It's almost like a mirror.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, fascinating. It really truly is. All of these challenges we have with AI are a reflection of the challenges we have with human nature.
I think we just stumbled onto something right there, right? No, that is interesting because that's how it's built, right?
Yeah.
That's how we got to this version of AI.
Sure.
Because, AI's been around for a while,
a
long time, but it's never reached.
Truly. And we didn't even realize, we didn't call it AI at the time.
At all.
Yeah.
Even a company who has been traditionally using AI and never use it as part of their promotion or branding, or now we're like, oh, we've been using AI for decades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We were the pioneers.
Which is, I guess to someone who's not following it, like, wait, what do you mean? AI just came out,
Yeah.
Well, okay, there's.
Yeah, kind of backtrack the backstory and pull it all together to make sense.
So do you have a of when, because there's Ray Kurzweil and then there's Elon Musk and, there's guys predicting, Sam Altman, predicting when full generative, artificial intelligence.
When we're going to have robots cleaning in our home, for us and
like
driving. Sentient.
They're saying, Ray Kurzweil says 2030.
2030.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I truly wouldn't. We've had these moments of massive innovation in our history that have changed the world and things we didn't think were possible. I heard you talking about this on a podcast a while back that, we didn't think our map, our camera, our everything would be in a small device in our pocket.
Yeah.
And now we have air taxis that are flying unmanned, things that we did not think were possible and could barely even be dreamed up in books. Those are possible now. So when people are hesitant to think AI could become sentient, I know it sounds a little whack, but I'd like to keep my mind open to that. Because we need to think of that possibility.
Absolutely. And you talk about, everything's happening so fast, right? Like it's like a revolution. It just happens. Well, that's just not in our technology, but that's in creation, right?
Yeah.
Like evolution throughout the existence of planet Earth, right? You like the evolution of species. Like it sits dormant. The same species are around for millions of years. And all of a sudden, those are gone and there's a whole brand new one. And there's this little track of like millions of evidence of something happened here.
Adaptation.
And all of a sudden now, we have lots of new species and very few from this time. So there was it's like the Cambrian explosion.
Dinosaurs walked the earth.
Right. And then all of a sudden they're not here.
Our whole world could be completely different than we picture it now.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder what new creatures may come along. Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Right?
AI can create whatever it wants.
It's so did you know that the story of The Matrix and Terminator were actually part of the same story written by the same author?
No, this is new information.
Yes.
I'm going to have to go back and piece it together. So can you, as you watch it, see the
in retrospect
tie-ins? I mean, this kind of gives me a weird feeling in my stomach.
Right? So the imagery, not so much, but the idea of, John Connor being the one, Neo, he's the one.
Okay.
He's just a further along iteration of the one. The anomaly tried again and again and again and again and again until Neo, right? Well, John Connor was one of the first anomalies.
Huh. That is wild.
It's wild.
Fascinating.
But this is a progression. I know it's a doomsday progression. AI is going to take over Skynet.
Maybe not doomsday. Right. I mean, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I say that so casually. Like, maybe this isn't the end. It could be. But
could be the seeds of it.
It could be the seeds of it.
Introducing Founders Focus with Gina Lewis, a once-a-month deep dive on the BAMBIZTALK Podcast, where we spotlight the legends of entrepreneurship and uncover their game-changing strategies. Join me, Angel Garcia, and the ever-insightful and brilliant Gina Lewis as we unpack the stories of iconic founders, what drove their success, bold moves that redefine industries, and the gold nugget lessons they've left behind as actionable insights that small business owners like you can use today. We will also spotlight local entrepreneurs and thought leaders who've taken the stage at Founders Blend Midland. These trailblazers have already shared their expertise in person, and now they're joining us on the podcast to dive deeper into their journeys, unpack their insights, and reveal the rest of the story. Whether you're looking to sharpen your business acumen, stay inspired, or learn how to think like the greats, Founders Focus is your go-to resource. Catch us monthly on BAMBIZTALK Podcast, where the wisdom of the past powers the success of the future. To the bold goes the glory. Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you searching for ways of taking your business to the next level? BAM is your answer. We specialize in crafting high-performance marketing strategies that put your brand front and center right in the palm of your customers' hands. Not only can we create a premium website full of features that optimize your social media and digital marketing presence, but we ensure that your brand gets multiple views from your target audience and even those visiting your competition. BAM is your go-to solution in the Permian Basin. But we're not just about digital and social media marketing. We're a one-stop shop offering a spectrum of services, including business mentorship, strategic planning, market research, and access to capital. That's right. We can get you funding to expand your business. With BAM, you're not just getting a service, you're gaining a partner committed to your growth for the life of your business. So why wait? Kickstart your journey to success today. Call us to set up a free consultation and discover how BAM can help your business soar above the rest. 432-247-8840. Call today and get your business launched.
I feel like I've been on tour for the past 3 months, just living out of my suitcase, going to the cybersecurity conference after buyer meet and greets. But I just went to ISC Squared's Security Congress. It's their annual big cybersecurity event and my favorite conference of the whole year. I love it. But there was a keynote talk on AI. And for all the incredible things AI can do, there are still some hiccups. I mean, it was asked to identify, I can't remember the exact scenario, but like a human, and it had picked a giraffe and morphed it into some weird human naff looking creature. A human naff. And, it just has every now and then, if you prompt a certain way, it's all about, the quality of your prompt as well and how well it has been trained. But if you prompt a certain way, you'll get an answer that you're like, oh, no.
Yes.
We're not on the same page here.
At all.
So, yeah.
At all. It's
it
interesting.
Still has some.
We still have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what was when Sam Altman was asked when GPT-5 was going to come out, he was asked, well, what's so better about it? He was like, it's smarter. And he was like, I'm kind of, embarrassed about, GPT-4, what?
Okay.
Right?
As if I created that, I'd be sad about it.
That's how he kind of conveyed, because 5 was supposed to be so much smarter.
It's very humble.
Right?
Very
But
humble.
very Sam Altman, though.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah.
It's funny. I'm embarrassed about it. Okay. I mean, I question what I'm doing, seeing you do big things, but
right.
Yeah.
But talking about AI still has some hiccups.
Yeah.
When it was asked, what are the best ingredients for pizza? Right. Very general, very, okay, that's it. Just best ingredients for pizza. Well, super glue or glues, a glue of some sort was
just keep it. Sometimes you need to keep that cheese on the pizza.
just from sliding off.
Maybe AI knows better than we do.
Maybe it's a good diet for AI once
That's
it's
right.
can metabolize as a machine.
Oh, what if it's training us?
Oh, yeah. But that was just because it was on Reddit. Some guy was being, funny on Reddit.
Yeah.
And so AI is like, oh, but that's an actual ingredient for pizza. Okay.
So many funny things that come out of AI. I just talked about the ISC² Security Congress, and I would love, it just made me think another exciting thing we've got coming up in Midland. This is separate from Tall City Cyber, but another endeavor that I'm involved in.
Awesome. Love it.
Well, ISC² is the world's largest certifying body for cybersecurity professionals. Okay. We have about 650,000 members, and Permian Basin makes up 84 out of those 650,000.
Yeah.
84. So I would love to see that number grow in the Permian Basin and have more of our members certified, qualified. The Department of Defense has a directive, 8140, also followed 8570. And in those directives, it sets minimum certifications required for information assurance personnel to work on government contracts.
Okay.
So pretty much all of my technical staff has to have these certifications anyway for, companies that are wanting to get government contracts in this area and have cybersecurity professionals work in the information assurance role. They're going to have these certifications, and it helps our companies as well have these trained, qualified, educated personnel on staff. So we just got approval about 2 weeks ago from ISC² to start a Permian Basin chapter.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was really excited to announce that at Security Congress and be surrounded by all the incredible chapters doing incredible things, and mentored by them about how to grow it and get people involved. But our vision is going to be known for our cybersecurity awareness and practices, specifically in our industry.
Awesome.
Our industry focus areas of oil and gas, space, healthcare, finance. So I'm really excited about kicking that off.
Yeah, because your industry pervades all industries.
My industry, it is in all. It has its hands in all the cookie jars.
Has to be. Yeah.
It's like the Cookie Monster careers.
Can I quote that?
Cybersecurity is the Cookie Monster of careers. We're in all the cookie jars.
But I mean, it's spot on, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because no matter what industry you're in or what you're doing, I mean, you need to be secure. Absolutely.
So I think that'll be a huge boost for the Midland area.
Yes.
Permian Basin area. It's such a small member base right now that we kind of had to scrape from all the Permian Basin, plus the chapters that exist right now are in Dallas and Austin and Houston, San Antonio. They're all about 5 hours away.
Right.
So this gives us a location that, someone in Pecos who really wants to be plugged in doesn't have to take an entire day out of their month to go be involved with that community. We have that community here.
Right here. An hour and a half drive.
That's right.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, daily sometimes. Yeah.
Because we're used to the vastness.
The vastness that doesn't rein us in.
No, it doesn't. Right? It's like, it's quick. When people complain about traffic here, I'm like, y'all do not.
That's adorable. That's adorable. 5 cars at a stoplight.
But so that's congratulations again. That's super awesome. That's great news to hear, and it's much needed here.
Thank you.
Something, because you probably know this, when you're trying to tell a small business or governmental organizations, hey, you need to, their security needs to be. Then you hear all these, like it just happened to OC not long ago, and then I think the Odessa chamber, or city was locked down.
Yeah. I just heard about that. I just heard about the OC incident yesterday, and they had to leverage ASU because ASU has cybersecurity incident response type thing there. I'd love to see why don't we have these things?
Why not
in the Permian Basin? So I'd love to see us get those resources here, because if this happens here, I'd like a face-to-face to be able to respond and help people sleep better at night. We've got to.
I think a big part of it, and I think what you're doing here with the ISC squared.
ISC squared. Okay. Don't even ask me what that stands for. It's like International, I don't know, Consortium of Cyber. I don't know. It's a long. I should memorize it, but it's going to take some training. Yeah.
But I think that's the first, because education is key, right? Awareness, education, and then application.
Yeah. I think they're rebranding to ISC2 instead of ISC squared. Speaking of rebranding.
Oh, do you have some rebranding news for us?
I do. And it's fascinating. So, and it ties back to Midland and our history here in Midland. I have a girlfriend who I believe we met each other in 2nd grade, and we kind of grew up together. We kind of went our separate ways in high school, as kids often do, but we've recently reconnected, and she lives in Dallas now, but she's an artist, and her story is fascinating. I would love if you had her on a podcast sometime.
I'd love to.
She's still very closely tied to Midland and does some graphic design for Midlanders, but she surprised me with a logo rebrand and just marketing, and she's redoing our website. And I created our logo. Everything that I've done has been bootstrapped so far. I mean, DIY on Canva. It's not the most professional way to do things, but I'm a firm believer in fail forward, fail fast.
Yes, 100%.
So I just got it done. And she, my dear friend, was like, I can help this girl. So surprised me with this new logo. But her backstory is incredibly fascinating. One of her big breaks came back in the day. Do you remember MySpace?
Oh, yeah. I think I still have an account.
Oh, no. There's probably been you might want to close out that account and get your PII off of there. I'm just kidding. So she saw Taylor Swift on MySpace back in the day before her popularity exploded, and she was like, this woman is going to be amazing. So she designed, I believe it was a t-shirt, if I remember correctly, for Taylor Swift, gave it to Taylor Swift at one of her events, her humble events back in the day, and Taylor Swift loved it so much and was like, will you do my tour bus? I'm about to go on tour. So Jennifer Johnson, shout out to Jennifer Johnson, she's not from Midland, but she spent a good portion of her life in Midland. Midland's near and dear to her heart.
Yeah.
And had a big impact on, some of the designs you see around Midland.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But she's done merch for all kinds of celebrities. And I think So You Think You Can Dance tour. We just went to Austin City Limits.
Oh.
Was that last weekend? I'm still rehydrating.
I bet. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. So we just went to Austin City Limits together, and she did a couple of their shirts for Austin City Limits. So I'm so excited about our brand relaunch and the story behind it, and that it was a surprise.
Just total surprise out of nowhere.
Total surprise. I think she texted me late at night and she gave me 3 options, and I'm like, she's pouring into me. And like, that is just so sweet. I know those designs don't, they're not fast. They take a while to really think. And you could tell she poured her heart out into, okay, what are the colors that just scream cybersecurity and the lines. And so she used some circuit lines and the Defender shield, and the colors are just very today. So
when's the launch?
Well, Midland has a tech industry day coming up on November 1st. I'm excited about that. Someone in Midland, my intern actually reached out to me late at night one night, was like, hey Gina, I saw this tech industry day. We should be going to that. So shout out to Deidre for catching that. And then some City of Midland personnel I know are going to that. City of Midland's hosting it, but at the Bush Convention Center. So we want to make sure we have t-shirts at least, or polos for that event. So I think we're going to at least do the logo on that. It's going to take a while to build out the website and things like that. We don't want any kind of confusion.
Right.
So we're still trying to kind of figure out the launch.
So once you get the website, then it's
game on.
Let's go.
Game on. Let's go.
Yeah.
What do Taylor Swift and Tall City Cyber have in common? Graphic
design. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I would love to have I love interesting people, especially if they're like, entrepreneurial and, they're just out there doing it.
I'm sorry you got me today. No, I'm just kidding.
What I'm talking about? No, you're very interesting. It's been a great conversation. It's been a great conversation. And I'm sure we could sit here and talk all day about.
All day. We didn't even get to talk about satellite hacking. Next time. I am most excited for the next time.
We got time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How are we doing right now?
If we got about a good 15 minutes.
Oh, man. Okay. Ready?
I'm ready. Satellite hacking.
One of my favorite satellite hacks, I shouldn't say favorite, because, by the way, this is a criminal activity. Do not do this at home.
Do not do this at home.
15-year-olds in 1999, I believe it was, hacked into NASA's systems and got control of the server that controls the life support systems for the International Space Station. Kind of a big deal if he had any kind of nefarious purposes. Iran demonstrated their GPS spoofing back in, I think it was 2011. Do you remember the drone we lost? And it landed in Iran, and we're like, oh gosh, what data does it have on it? Can it self-destruct the classified data? And we were kind of panicked over that. But GPS spoofing, that's a whole other podcast. We saw with the Ukraine and Russia conflict, Russia attempting to hack the Starlink satellites and deny Ukraine satellite access, even getting access to the military mobile devices to implant malware onto those. And then recently, 2023, another one of my favorite conferences, DEF CON. Have you heard of that?
I have.
That's an exciting conference in Vegas. In 2023, the military for the first time allowed people at this conference to try and hack into a satellite, see how breachable it was. Military were pretty proud of our infrastructure. Well, not just one, but 3 teams were able to hack into that satellite at that conference. So it just goes to show how vulnerable our space industry is. I think one of our satellites up there is from 1970. It's operating on old hardware, old software. Can that be weaponized? Can a threat actor take control of that satellite and then disrupt, other satellites? What is the potential there? So just some things. Anyway, I took us off on a tangent back to the cybersecurity direction, but
no, those are instances like that's very interesting, right? That we still have a satellite out there from the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be one of the original
It's
launches.
feeling back pain right now. Need some Motrin in the morning.
It's amazing that they're leaving it up there.
Yeah. I think we're getting better at planning. There are all kinds of innovators trying to figure out what to do with space debris. That's becoming a huge issue. Which can pose a threat to life and speed launch humans into space. So tons of innovation in the industry.
So when you're satellite hacking, right? You used to not go up there, but send your
Can I hack from the moon?
And it's just like it was putting code as a guard. Is that what you were doing?
Putting code as a guard?
Yeah, like when you first got recruited. Right? What was that when you first got recruited? When you were in college, the ASVAB?
The basic training?
Yes.
The boot camp?
Yeah. The gentleman in suits who came
Office of Special Investigation.
Yes.
Very intimidating organization.
Yes.
You don't want them to hurt you typically. But that ended up being a life-changing moment.
Right. And did that, was that your entry into
anything digital? I mean, everything. I had taken a typing class in high school. But that kicked it off and discovered that was intuitive as well. During my tech training, I was so obsessed. We had to learn Morse code, which is fascinating. Every time I hear like a radio station send their Morse code, I'm like, oh, that's QRW or, whatever the call sign is. So fascinated with Morse code. Now I would just be obsessed. I didn't want to take any breaks or get up or do anything. I just kept cranking away. And
classic hacker behavior.
Yeah. Give me a monster. I got this all night. So there's a Samuel B. Morse Award. It's pretty rare to get it, but it's for individuals who can hack 22 groups of code or decode 22 groups of code within a minute. So You're not just typing 22 words a minute, you're decoding them as well. And I got that award. So that's in that moment. That was really that was like the first award I got on this career path. Yeah. And that moment was like, I like this. Yeah. I can do this.
It was confirmation.
Yeah.
That you were pretty good at what you were doing.
That is it destiny? Is it fate? I don't know.
That's a whole
that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast on itself. But I think, you brought up earlier, nurture, right? Nature versus nurture, right? I think it's a combination.
True.
I don't think it could ever be one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And your experience with oil and gas definitely is that nurture. You grew up in that.
Grew up in it.
Something in you that's.
Maybe that's what made me young, interested in like rocks.
Yeah.
I'm a rock guy. I
Do
love
you
rocks.
go hiking?
I love hiking. Yeah. I wish I could do more of it. When I lived in Austin, all the time.
Gosh, so many trails.
The Greenbelt was my best friend. But I haven't in years really. I do when I get the opportunity when I'm somewhere else. Just go hike.
Guadalupe Peak.
I have not been there. I've had
Let's
plans.
go.
Let's
wrap this up.
See us on Guadalupe Peak. It's right down the road.
That vastness, it's just a short drive away.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think growing up in it definitely had a lot of influence.
Sure.
And then my mom was both an English teacher and a Spanish teacher. So
bilingual,
and she was we had lots of books at the house. as a kid, see her reading. Then when I was old enough, Dad would take me to work. So I got to be outside and see oil stuff, and then at home, my mom was all into the arts and literature, and so
you got a little bit of both the artsy, creative side,
and then
which
the science.
I can see for sure in the science.
In the science, so I've always been kind of curious in everything. Everything kind of draws my attention.
Yeah.
The problem is, do I do anything with it?
Yeah.
That's the classic.
Do something with all of it.
All of it.
Yeah. The world is yours.
Yeah. But and that's what I like to say. I think I'm in the right place. I think it put me in the right place. It gave me the experience to put me where I'm at. Because what I do every day is I read and I write, and I have to get technical. A lot of the times now it's not rocks, but it's businesses. It's metrics. It's looking at the psychology, human psychology. I'd have to be artsy too, because I got to be creative in certain aspects. So and then the podcasting, I love messing with wires and tech and pushing buttons. You have some cool
toys here.
I love cool toys.
Yeah.
Right? It's just so. It's very natural to do that for me, because when I was in Austin, I had my own band,
What?
Yeah.
Tell me about this. What do you play an instrument?
No, I cannot play a harmonic note to save my life.
Okay.
I'm a rapper. I was a rapper at one point.
You have got surprises. What?
No, well, I started off because I wrote poetry all the time.
Wow.
When I was young, I used to write poetry to all my girlfriends, right?
Aww.
And then that turned into,
I'm not crying, you're crying. That's really sweet.
So it's just an extension of that, we were called the Ill Ego Aliens.
You have to say that kind of fast to put it together. Aliens, that's funny. Illegal aliens.
And it was a live band. They called us Mexican Roots.
Love the play on words.
Yeah.
So how many years did you do that?
It was only for about 4 years. Did the Austin tour.
I love learning little nuggets about people. Mm-hmm. You see them and you take them at face value and you think, okay, I know this person. They do podcasts and they mentor entrepreneurs and small businesses. But then you have this whole other, and I'm sure there are other surprises in there that I don't even know about. So did you ever freestyle rap?
That's how it started. It all started freestyle. A couple, but that wasn't really my thing, because in rap battles, most at the time, it was just about against that other person, and that's super hard for me. Like, I don't want to, I just want to.
You want them to win too? You got this, buddy.
You can do it. Look, let me tell you something about myself. Yeah. I just could never get into that aspect of it. But if you were to have a rap battle to see who can wordplay, give me a topic and let me throw on it, then that would be something different.
Do you still listen to rap? Is that
for sure. Yeah. For sure. It's part of my
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I listen to all music though. That's the thing. I can't listen to rap and only rap all day long. No. I love country music, I like rock music.
Americana. North what is it, New England's? Well, that's like
folk.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it.
Who's an artist?
He sings Stick Season. I should know this. Who this is? I'll think of it at 2:00 in the morning. Right. Sit up and be like, it's so and so. But like the Lumineers vibe. Are you familiar with them? And Second Story plays. I didn't know other people in this area liked that style of music, but Second Story will often play that kind of vibe. And I freaking love that place.
I love Second Story.
Yes.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Second Story is a co-working place in Midland, and they welcome entrepreneurs and businesses and champion them and network and connect them. And
so I think that's a perfect place. That's where Founders Blend was born.
At Second Story. That was our first.
Yes. Yeah. Founders Blend was born at Second Story.
That just makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. You know, Brian, he just wanted something like that. And so got with Sammy at the Midland Development Corporation. And, you know, Sammy and I had already been in contact about, you know, entrepreneurs in Midland. And she brings me in and whatever, you know, we try to get 1 million cups going here.
It was badly needed. I mean, we didn't have anything.
But 1 million cups kept brushing us off and, you know, putting stipulations and requirements that just didn't make sense for our area. So we're just like, hey, let's create our own.
Yeah.
Founders Blend, Midland. And there we go. And it's been going on a year and year and a half.
And growing. And I love how a small business will often provide the food or the coffee, or it's a way to highlight another small business in the community and get addicted to their food or coffee.
It's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Right. Itself, you know, and then it promotes entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. Right. And like you said, it was desperately needed here in the area, just like Second Story was desperately needed here in the area. And I feel that they're way ahead of their time here, but perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right. Because
way ahead of their time, but perfect timing.
Because Midland is growing, you know. Actually, Midland is like that has the youngest demographic of most major cities. Yeah. Areas. We're younger than Austin.
You know, I mean, some of us are. Right. I'm feeling the decades creeping up on me.
But you have a young spirit.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, and that's a requirement of an entrepreneur.
I hope I can still say that at 116.
There we go. We got goals.
We got goals. That's right.
Well, Miss Gina Lewis, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Great conversation.
Thank you. It's been an honor, truly.
Well, thank you. Do you have anything, parting words for our listeners out there?
Oh, gosh. I would love to leave it with something sweet, but I'll just leave it with my favorite quote. I think Rob Dial, Mindset Mentor, often says it. Motivation shows up when you do.
I like it. No, that's good. It's like summoning the muse.
Yeah.
Right? You know, if you don't show up, the muse doesn't show up.
Let's do this.
I love it. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.